So now we're going to use the crop tool to straighten this photograph. And one thing to note about the crop tool is that the options bar changes after you've engaged the tool and started to draw a crop box. So to show you what that means, I've got the crop tool engaged now. I just clicked on it there. Crop tool, incidentally, doesn't have a black arrow at the bottom of it. It's a single tool. And in the options bar you've got width, height, resolution, etc. However, if I drag out a crop box, and for straightening the picture, the initial size and shape of it doesn't really matter. After I've dragged out a crop box, you get these options here which change the difference between the crop selection box and the outside of the box. And at the moment the opacity is set to 20%. If you click on this drop down here, you can change the opacity by dragging this slider so that it becomes lighter and it's easy to see what is outside. I'm going to leave it to around about 50% there. So what I'm going to do is create a long narrow box like that, and then I'm going to move the box so that the bottom edge of the box intersects with this top of this wall here, because this wall is a horizontal line, or it should be. And to move the box, you put your cursor inside the box, click and drag to move the box like so. Now when you're dragging the box, be careful you don't put your cursor on this central button here, which I call the drawing pin button. That is a rotation point for when you want to rotate the box, which we're going to do in a minute. So make sure you keep away from that when you try to drag the box. Now I'm just going to zoom in to this area here so that you can see better what I've done, and I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, the zoom tool, control and spacebar. I can't select it off the toolbar because if I do I will lose the crop box. So I should just zoom into that area there. So you can see the bottom of the crop box here intersects with the top of the wall here, and that's exactly what we want. So let's zoom out again using keyboard shortcut Control Alt and Spacebar. And now, zoomed out a bit too far, I'll just zoom in again. If I move my cursor outside of this crop box, the cursor changes to a curved double-headed arrow. You've got to move it a little bit away from the corner, otherwise you'll start adjusting this corner box. When it becomes a curved double-headed arrow, click and hold your mouse and then drag the mouse in a curved direction and you can rotate the crop box so. And what you're trying to do is put the bottom of the box parallel with the top of the wall. Just zoom into that again. You can see it's running parallel with the top of the wall. Zoom out again. Takes a bit of time while we're running this video. Having done that, we now need to pull out the edge of the crop box to include as much of the photo as we can. But beware that the corner of the crop box doesn't go off the photograph, otherwise you'll leave small triangles at the edge of the photo. So I need to drag that in a little bit. When I'm happy with that, I can go up here and click the tick, and there we have a straightened photo.